Welcome to Independent Homework 9 Hints. Begin by downloading the file from your Learning Plan 9. The spreadsheet will have any available resources such as your book or page number listed at the top of the spreadsheet. In this assignment, you're going to be looking at Lacey's financial data and calculating all sorts of financial ratios and displaying trends. To keep you going, I've actually provided for you a lot of the formulas, which these are all ratios that you probably went over in your different accounting classes so far. If there's some that possibly you can't see, if you just say if you right click and say edit comment, then you'll be able to kind of drag and make that comment a little bit bigger. Okay? So for working capital, I've given you the hint of letting you know what that working capital formula is. Okay? I also here in 2010 have some check numbers for you. So as you build your formula and you pull them all the way across, you can check 2010 to make sure that your formula is working the way it should be. Okay? So the answer that should be in this cell, D61, is 964. You, of course, will have a formula in there that computes $964. Okay. Also, I want to point out in 2008, there are a few cells which I have labeled here that do require an average in the denominator. But due to the lack of 2007 data, I've instructed you to just simply use the 2008 balance sheet data rather than an average. However, in the years 2012 through 2009, I do want you to use the average. All right, so moving down to trends, I think that was enough instruction here for the ratios and statistics. We went through that in your Learning Plan 9. So here you have got more, but I've given you all the formulas. So I think you have enough information to do well here with the ratios. Let's move on to the trends. Okay, so with trends, what we're doing here is just simply establishing a trend based on the base year. And in this case, the base year is 2008. That's why we've got 100% filled in column F, because for comparing 2008 to 2008, it would make sense that it would be performing at 100%. So what we're going to do is compare each of these years, 2009 through 2012, to 2008. So just to get us started, if I want to go ahead and take a look, here I've given you a check figure of 105, but let's go ahead and calculate that. For sales, we're going to go ahead and start our equation, bring in a parentheses. We want to compare the sales of 2012 to 2008. So I'm going to scroll up here and take a look at my net sales of 2012. I'm comparing it to 2008, so I'm going to divide by the 2008 amount. And I want this basically presented as a percentage, so I'm going to go ahead and multiply that by 100. Okay, and that's going to give me the 105 that I'm looking for. Okay, and you'll repeat that all the way down and all the way across. Okay, now of course if you do it all the way down, you'll be able to pull your formula over. Okay, watch for any absolute values if you might need those. Let's take a quick look at the gross profit. This one's a little bit more tricky. We'll calculate this one together. So your gross profit, we're going to go ahead and get our formula started. So what we're looking for here is our gross profit. We're going to go up. Which is our sales, okay, minus our cost of goods sold. Sometimes it's calculated for you. In this instance, it wasn't calculated for you, so you have to calculate it yourself. Okay, and we want to compare that, so we'll close our parentheses, to 2008. So let's start another set of parentheses. Sales minus cost of goods sold. Okay, and then that whole thing we want to then multiply by 100. Okay, so that one I gave you just because it was a little bit harder. We actually had to calculate that gross profit. Let's also give you sales per square foot. Okay, here we're just going to take our sales, okay, and go ahead and divide that by the total square feet, which they have down here in cell B43. Okay, so we got our check number of 152. Moving right along. Okay, so common size income statements is where we're at now with our hints. And common size income statement, what we're doing here is we're comparing everything to net sales, okay? That's why we've got the 100% in here for net sales, because net sales compared to net sales is going to be 100%. So if we want to start off with cost of goods sold, okay, we're going to go ahead and grab our cost of goods sold above, B12. Okay, we're going to divide by net sales, which is B11. And we're going to multiply that by 100. Okay, so our check number is 59, and we got 59. That should give you a pretty good start there on common size income statement, where we're going with that. Common size balance sheet, same thing here, though we're comparing everything to total assets. So that's why we've got our 100% going across the board there for total assets. Same concept as what you just did up in the common size income statements. Moving right along, our comparative income statement. Here's another common type of report that you'll see a lot in industry. Here we're just taking our net sales from 2011 and 12 and just comparing them side by side. So we can go ahead and grab our net sales for 2012. Way up at the top here. This one I can just drag over because 2011 was right next to 2012. Okay? And when you're calculating your increase or decrease, you're always taking 2012 and subtracting 2011 from it. So let's go ahead and do that. Okay, so we've got a decline here of 1,403. Then when we're calculating the percentage, we're going to take our cell D122 here. We're going to divide it by 2011, which is the prior year. Okay, we're going to get a negative 5.64. So that should help you out with what we're conceptually doing here when it comes to the comparative income statement as well as the comparative balance sheet. Okay, same process you'll be doing down here with the comparative balance sheet. All right, so we're in the home stretch here. We're just at the quarterly analysis. So what we're doing here is what percentage of sales is happening in what quarter. So you know that your total should be 100%. Okay, it looks like I got to update that check total there. But we should have 100% in all of the totals here at the end. And of course, quarter 1 through quarter 4 are going to be very percentages, but the sum of all of these should be 100% going across. Okay, so I think that that's pretty good in terms of hints for you guys. I think that you will do well on this. It will take you, a substantial amount of time, so do not rush and give yourself enough time to work through this spreadsheet. I think it's a very valuable spreadsheet because if you do, like I said, work for a publicly traded company, this will be your quarter-end routine, to say the least. So that concludes the hints for Independent Homework 9. Please submit 2 files, both the replicating exercise we covered in Learning Plan 9 as well as the independent homework in a single submission for grading by the deadline indicated on your syllabus.